When I woke up, it wasn't my mother's face waiting for me. It was her hand, tan, manicured, impatient, scrolling a tablet in the clinic lobby like she was flipping through vacation photos. The receptionist kept her voice sweet. "Before discharge, we need to confirm the visitor log." My mother's smile arrived on cue, then faded. Her thumb slowed, stopped, and her lips parted as if the air had turned to ice. "No, that can't be," she whispered, because the same name was there again, and again, every night. Ethan Vale. I didn't witness that moment. I was upstairs in ICU, learning how to sit up without my heart sprinting, but later, a nurse described my mother's face, how it went pale in a way tanning can't fix, when she realized the hospital had receipts. And I tasted something I hadn't tasted in years. Proof. My name is Rowan. I'm 29, a 911 dispatcher in the San Diego suburbs where the houses look calm on purpose. I work nights. People think dispatchers answer phones. What we really do is hold strangers together while the world burns around them. The part that burned me wasn't the job. It was my family. In our house, Logan was the golden kid, surfer, smile like sunshine. So much potential, my mother said, as if potential paid bills. I was the responsible one, the fixer, the backup battery. It started with tiny asks. "Can you cover the copay? Just this once." "Your father's meds went up." "Logan needs airfare for a competition. This is big for his future." Every request had the same aftertaste, guilt wrapped in praise. "You're strong," my mother would say. "You'll figure it out." My father didn't praise. He used silence. If I hesitated, he'd pause just long enough for shame to grow. "Do what you want," he'd say. In our family, that meant, do what we want, or we'll punish you with distance. So I did. For 5 years, I bled money quietly. Home repairs, Logan's debts, emergencies, my father's medical bills. More than $90,000, easy if you count the just until next month transfers that never came back. And then I bled time, sleep, patience, my own body. The warning signs were small, the way danger often is. My hands shook after shifts. My vision blurred if I stood too fast. I forgot simple words. I started living on vending machine crackers and cold coffee because eating felt optional. On the night it happened, the dispatch room was too warm and too bright. I was finishing my 3rd straight night shift. A call lit up my screen, an older woman screaming like her throat was tearing. "My husband. He's not breathing. Please." My voice switched to the calm one, the one my coworkers trust. "Put the phone on speaker. Lay him flat. Center your hand on his chest. We're going to do compressions together." She sobbed. I counted with her. I could do CPR instructions in my sleep. And that's what my body tried to do. Mid-sentence, my brain stuttered. The screen swam. The light stretched into white blades. My tongue felt heavy, like it forgot how to form words. "Stay with me," I started. I didn't finish. The floor rushed up. Someone shouted my name. My headset clattered. The last thing I heard was a coworker yelling, sharp with panic, "Call an ambulance!" Then nothing. When I woke up, the ceiling was hospital white, the kind that looks like it wants to erase you. Machines beeped at my bedside, steady and judgmental. My mouth tasted like metal and dryness. My chest ached deep, like a fist had squeezed my heart and left fingerprints. "I see you." I turned my head, expecting, because I'd been trained to expect. My mother's face, my father's stiff posture, Logan's half-bored sympathy. The chair beside my bed was empty. No flowers, no bag of toiletries, no jacket thrown over the arm like someone had been there all night. Just a plastic cup of water and the soft hum of a building that didn't care who I was. A nurse noticed my eyes searching the room. Dark hair, tired eyes, gentle hands. "You're awake," she said. "I'm Dana." My voice came out cracked. "My family?" Dana paused. It was a small pause, but I've listened to thousands of people pause before lies. "They came by," she said carefully. "How long?" Her gaze held mine. "About 20 minutes." The number landed like a slap. 20 minutes, I repeated. Dana's mouth tightened. "They said they had travel plans." "Travel plans." I tried to laugh, but it came out dry. "Where?" Dana didn't even need to check. "Cancun." Of course it was Cancun. Logan had a surfing event, one of those glossy international competitions that's mostly sponsors and beach photos. My mother had talked about it like it was the Olympics. She'd said the same sentence every time I looked tired. He needs this, Rowan. Don't be selfish. Dana adjusted my IV. You collapsed from extreme exhaustion and an arrhythmia. You're lucky. Lucky? The word felt wrong. I was alive, yes. But alive and alone in ICU is its own kind of punishment. I swallowed around the ache in my throat. Did they ask about me? Dana's expression stayed professional, but her eyes sharpened. Your mother asked about paperwork. Your father asked what you'd be able to do when you got out. My stomach turned. And Logan? Dana hesitated. He asked if you were stable. Stable, like I was a package. The next day they returned my phone. It was buzzing like a trapped insect, missed calls, a few texts. My mother, call me. My father, don't make this hard. Logan, a photo of the beach with Lowell attached like my heart hadn't just malfunctioned. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. Then I set it down because outrage takes energy and my body had none left. That night, Dana came in to check my monitors. She glanced toward the glass door. Do you get many visitors? I asked, because my voice needed something to do besides shake. Dana's mouth twitched. You do? I blinked. I do? There's been someone, she said. Every night. My skin prickled. Who? Dana didn't answer immediately. He came the first night after your family left. He asked for room 314. He didn't even go in. He stood by the glass for hours. My throat tightened. He just stood there? She nodded. Quiet. Like he didn't want to wake you. Like he didn't know if he was allowed to be here. I tried to imagine it. Someone choosing a hospital hallway over a hotel bed. Does he have a name? I asked. Dana's gaze softened. It's in the log. Later that night I saw him, a tall figure at the end of the corridor, moving slowly, careful with the quiet. He stopped by my door. He didn't enter. He looked through the glass, and I couldn't see his face clearly, only the stillness of him. I lifted a weak hand. He nodded once, like a private promise. Then he sat in the chair outside my room and stayed. The next day, I asked Dana again, straight. What's his name? She studied me like she was making a decision. Then she said, Ethan Vale. The name hit like a dropped glass. Sharp, dangerous. My mother used to say it like a curse. I hadn't heard it in years. Why is he here? I whispered. Dana's eyebrows lifted. He spoke to billing. Quietly, your account shows paid. I stared at her. Paid by who? Dana's voice was steady. By him. Anonymous on paper, but it's him. My lungs forgot how to work for a second. My family flew to Cancun and left me with ICU monitors, and a man with a name my mother hated paid my medical bills. When you've spent your whole life buying love, you recognize real love by how unfamiliar it feels. On day 8, when I could sit up long enough to drink broth without falling asleep mid-sip, he finally stepped into the room. He stayed near the doorway, like he didn't want to take up space. His eyes were tired in a way that wasn't age. Life tired. Rowan, he said softly, like the name mattered. I stared at him. Why are you here? He swallowed. I didn't want you to be alone. The simplicity of it gutted me. You knew my mother, I said, because the name he carried told me that much. He nodded once. A long time ago. My heart thudded too hard. The monitor beeped faster, as if it sensed my panic. What are you to me? I asked. He looked down at his hands, then up at me. I'm someone who should have been here sooner. That wasn't an answer, but it was close enough to the truth to make my skin go cold. The morning my mother returned was day 10. By then, I could stand with help. I was sitting on the edge of the bed when I heard her voice in the hallway, bright, offended, confident. I'm here for my daughter. I need the discharge paperwork. Dana appeared a minute later, expression tight. Your mother's downstairs. They handed her the visitor log. Ethan's jaw tightened like he'd been expecting this storm. A few minutes later, my mother burst into my room like she owned the building. Her hair was glossy, her skin sun-kissed, her eyes bright with the kind of energy you get when you've been drinking margaritas while someone else is breaking. There you are, she said, too cheerful. Finally. I didn't answer. She scanned the room, blanket, book, water, then narrowed her eyes. Why was I given a visitor log? I kept my tone even. Hospital policy. Don't play cute, she snapped. I'm here to take you home. Take me, I repeated softly. Like luggage. Her face tightened. Watch your mouth. Where were you, I asked, when I woke up alone in ICU? She waved a hand like my question was a mosquito. You were stable. Logan had his competition. You know that. Stable. There it was again. You flew to Cancun, I said, tasting the words like poison. With your golden boy. Her eyes flashed. Don't call him that. Why not, I said. It's accurate. She stepped closer, voice dropping into that sharp private tone. You always make everything about you. I laughed once, harsh and small. That's rich, coming from someone who came back tan and angry demanding my discharge. Her jaw clenched. We have bills, Rowan. This can't drag on. So that was the truth, finally unclothed. Bills. Ethan appeared in the doorway behind her. My mother froze as if she'd walked into a wall. She turned slowly, and for the first time she looked truly afraid. What are you doing here? She hissed. Ethan's voice didn't rise. I'm visiting my daughter. The word daughter dropped into the room like a stone. My mother snapped her head toward me. Don't listen to him. He's nobody. Nobody, I repeated, and my voice went calm in that dispatcher way, the voice that pulls truth out of chaos. Then why did your face go pale when you saw his name in the visitor log every night? Her mouth opened. Closed. My father arrived behind her then, like a shadow that always shows up when money is involved. He looked at me, not at the monitors, not at the bruises, not at the IV. What did you do? He demanded. I blinked. Hello to you too. My mother recovered first. She pointed at me like I was misbehaving. She's being dramatic. She's letting him manipulate her. My father's eyes flicked to Ethan, hard. Who are you? Ethan met his stare. Someone who stayed. My father's mouth tightened. This is family business. Funny, I said, voice low. You treated me like a bill, not family. My mother stepped forward again, anger replacing fear because anger is safer. Rowan, enough. You're coming home. Today. No, I said. She blinked like she'd never heard that word from me. Excuse me? I took a slow breath. My hands were trembling, but my mind was clear. I'm not signing a discharge today, I said. And you can't sign it either. My mother's eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? I changed my emergency contact, I said. You're not it. Her face drained. You can't. I already did, I said. Proper forms, hospital administrator, legal. You don't have access to my medical decisions. My father stepped closer, voice dropping. You owe us. There it was, the family motto. I looked him in the eye. I paid you more than $90,000 over 5 years. Consider that the final installment. My mother's voice sharpened into venom. That money was for the family, for your brother, for your father's health. And what was left for me, I asked. A collapse on a dispatch floor and an empty ICU chair? My mother's lips curled. You're alive, aren't you? Stop making it a tragedy. I stared at her. I'm alive because my coworker called an ambulance, and because he, I nodded at Ethan, showed up when you didn't. My father's face hardened. If you cut us off, if I cut you off, I interrupted, you'll stop loving me? You already did. You just kept taking anyway. The room went quiet, heavy. Dana appeared at the door, voice firm. This needs to end. Patient needs rest. My mother turned on Dana like she could bully the entire building. Stay out of it. Dana didn't move. No. My mother's eyes snapped back to me, desperate now. Rowan, be reasonable. Think about Logan. Think about us. And that was when something in me finally, cleanly, snapped into place. I have been thinking about you, I said. For years. That's the problem. I reached for my phone, opened my banking app, and turned the screen toward my mother. See this? I said. Autopay canceled. Transfers stopped. The account you had access to is closed. My mother's breath hitched. You can't do that. The contractor... Call Cancun, I said lightly. Maybe the ocean will help. Her face twisted. You're ungrateful. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'm done being your emergency fund. My father's voice went cold. You'll regret this? I smiled, small and tired. I already regretted the last 5 years. My mother looked at Ethan like he was the devil. You don't get to rewrite history. Ethan's reply was quiet, precise. I'm not rewriting anything. I'm correcting what you hid. My mother's eyes flashed, and for a second I saw the calculation. How to spin this, how to regain control, how to make me the villain. But she didn't have an audience. Only staff. Only a man with a visitor log. Only me. So she did the only thing she could do without losing face completely. She left. She stormed out first, shoulders rigid. My father followed, throwing one last look at me that said I was no longer useful. When the door closed, the silence felt like oxygen. My hands shook harder. I swallowed against a sudden sting behind my eyes. Not sadness. Release. Dana stepped closer and adjusted my blanket with gentle efficiency. You did good, she murmured. I feel like I'm going to throw up, I admitted. That's normal, she said. Your body's catching up to what your heart already knew. Ethan stayed by the window, not touching anything, not taking space he hadn't earned. I didn't want to pressure you, he said. I couldn't let you be alone. I stared at the empty chair beside my bed, the one my family never warmed. 10 days, and one man behind glass, every night, like a lighthouse. What now? I asked, voice small. Ethan looked at me the way you look at something fragile you're afraid to break. Now you heal, he said, and you decide who gets access to you. A week later, after discharge, on my timeline, not my mother's, I stood barefoot on the sand near my apartment and watched the waves fold and retreat. My phone buzzed with voicemails I didn't listen to. Ethan stood beside me, hands in his pockets, quiet. I feel guilty, I said. He nodded once. They trained that into you. I stared at the ocean. My mother said family is who shows up. Ethan's gaze stayed on the water. She's right. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Then she's going to hate the definition. He didn't laugh. He didn't gloat. He just stood there, steady. And in that steadiness, I finally understood the moral nobody in my family ever wanted me to learn. Sometimes family is the people who share your blood. And sometimes family is the person who sits outside a glass door every night, saying nothing, asking for nothing, just refusing to let you disappear alone.